NBA is going on, March Madness is about to start. So I like, why not combine the two? Because one thing about March Madness, and this is more of an NBA channel, but we'll cross paths sometimes between NCAA and basketball and the NBA, is that a lot of these players we're seeing one day might be playing in the NBA. So I thought it would be cool to talk about what are some of the most interesting stat lines for NBA players that they had in college and high school. And I'm talking about more well-known NBA players, not just like some random person we've never heard of. So let's talk about some of the examples here. And if you see me looking over here, I do have my stats here. So you might see me, scrolling through some stats. Don't mind me. Stats number one, CJ McCollum shot 52% from three his senior year at Lehigh. Pretty good. And now in the NBA, he's more of a mid-range shooter, which is pretty interesting. But I still remember that Lehigh team, they gave Kansas fits in the NCAA tournament. David Robinson, the Admiral, averaged 6 blocks a game in one season at Navy, which is pretty outrageous until you remember that Victor Wembanyama is in the NBA, and in the last month, he's averaging 4.8 blocks per game, which is pretty freaking absurd. This is some bad stats that make you wonder down the line. Zach LaVine averaged 9 points per game in college, and then he was a first-round pick and averages a lot more than 9 points per game in the NBA, which goes to show a lot of times, in college versus the NBA, scoring doesn't necessarily have to translate both ways, right? If you're not a great scorer in college, doesn't mean you're not going to be a great scorer in the NBA. Speaking of scorers who are not great scorers in the NBA, this just goes to show how good NBA players were before they were NBA players. And this guy bounced around the league before finding a home. Patrick Beverley averaged 35 points in high school, along with 8 steals a game. Damn. And then it took him so long to get in the league and find a place. Let's talk. This is not really a stat line, but for example, Danny Ainge, who's former, Celtic, I think he played for the Phoenix Suns. He also was the general manager for the Celtics and now the general manager for the Utah Jazz. Listen to this. It's not a stat line, but Danny Ainge is the only high school athlete ever named first team All-American, first team All-American in football, first team All-American in basketball, first team All-American in baseball, just to go show how good of an athlete he was. Brandon Knight, if you guys remember him, point guard, he averaged 39 points per game in high school as a junior. This is how sick these guys are, and we're going to be seeing some pretty cool players in March Madness. John Stockton averaged more points per game in his final year in college than Michael Jordan. Now, Stockton ended up obviously being a great pro, and he also played in a weaker conference with Gonzaga than Michael Jordan did in the ACC. But still pretty crazy that John Stockton averaged more points per game in college in his final season than Michael Jordan. This one's always fun. We've heard this one before, but Reggie Miller once scored 40 points in a high school game. And that was 65 points short of what his sister scored later that day when Cheryl Miller swoops. Why would I say Cheryl Swoops as a different player? Cheryl Miller threw up 105 points in a high school game. And to add on earlier to the LaVine point we made, you guys probably heard of his point guard from UCLA named Russell Westbrook. He had averaged 8 points, 2 boards, and 3 assists in college. And people thought he was just going to be a great defender, and then he's a Hall of Fame NBA player. Let's just throw out a couple more fun ones for you. Al Jefferson averaged 42 points, 18 rebounds, and 7 blocks a game in high school. Charlie Ward. You guys remember Charlie Ward, New York Knicks point guard back in the 90s? He threw for 3,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions for Florida State and won the Heisman Trophy Award that year. And then he ended up playing in the NBA just to show how freaking amazing these guys were as athletes. Anthony Davis, this is a sad stat for example. His high school team, his senior year of high school, went 6-19, despite him averaging 32 points, 22 rebounds, and 7 blocks per game. He tried to carry the team on his back. I guess it just didn't work. And then last one, I guess, here's a couple of them. Jose Alvarado had a quadruple doubles with steals once in high school. Always hard to get a quadruple double. And Luka had a 50-point triple double in a championship game. And he's still dropping triple doubles, but this was when he was just 15 years old. Think about that. That's amazing. It just goes to show these guys in the NBA have always been really good. They're always just, above and beyond. And in general, I just think it's amazing. And we're going to see a lot of great players here in the NCAA tournament. So just keep your eyes out on them, who could be like the next NBA stars. And just kind of want to give a shout out between the NCAA college tournament coming up and the NBA and kind of link them both together. So thank you for watching here till the end of the video. This is Hoops on Tap. I'm George on Tap. You can follow me everywhere on social media. This is my basketball channel. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Enjoy the tournament coming up and enjoy the NBA basketball that's still being played. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you know any obscure stats like that from high school or college that these NBA players were able to achieve back in the day. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next time.